No tip, no trip. Is that a real thing? Well, it definitely can be if you make it. But if you're the type of driver that just takes every order, then that won't be you. Or if you just occasionally just take a $2 order just here and there, well, that might not be you either. But for a lot of DoorDash, Uber Eats, Grubhub, gig drivers, when we see just flat out base pay, we already know that there is no tip on that order. And that's why you hear that no tip, no trip. Now, is that good? Is that bad? Well, we're going to talk a little bit more about that just a little bit further, so you won't just get just my opinion, but hopefully I can show you some examples and make you think for yourself to see if this is actually even good for you. But I know there's going to be somebody going to say, well, how do you even know or even recognize if there is no tip on there? Now, most base pays is either $2 or $2.25 in some areas. And we're looking at this one right here, $2.25, 6.9 miles. Not only is this a no tip order, but this is way upside down whether your money and miles ratio is completely out of whack. It'd been much better to take an offer where it's $6.90 for 2.2 miles. So in my opinion, this would be a no-go. There is no tip on here, and so there's no trip. Another example.
Or some people will say, well, if it's short mileage, I might take it.
$2 for 3 miles. Would you take it? Not me. No tip, no trip. Now, I know there's going to be some people thinking,
well, I'm starting to think that's just the way you think. If there's not no tip on there, you're not going to take it.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. If all possible, if I actually recognize, hey, if I'm not actually getting paid for my time, I am not going to take that order, because you got to look at a concept. How many offers are you going to take within an hour? A lot of times the normal is getting 2 offers in an hour, maybe 3. And if everything's like all within a 1 or 2 mile radius, 4 possible. Now, let's just say if you can actually get 3 offers, but if you have 3 lowball orders of like $2 and $3 or even $4, you would just be at $12 an hour just with 3 orders. And that's so important, why you have to take an account of your own fuel that you're putting into your vehicle, the maintenance that we have to do, everything that we have, just your own time, you have to be taken account of, because a bad habit like this will definitely cost you in the long run. Then you're just going to be out there thinking, it's like, man, I didn't really make hardly anything today. Well, part of that reason is because you didn't decline enough orders. That was like $2, $3, $4. Sometimes we got to wait. Sometimes it feels like we're fishing and you're just waiting for a bite. But even if you got like a $7 offer, that's more worth your time than those 2 or 3 offers all put together. Because if you got 3 of those $7 offers, that would be $21. So tell me, what would you rather make? $21 an hour or $12 an hour? Just think if you did 3 straight $2 orders, then you're down to $6 in that hour. That would be absolutely absurd. Then you'd just have to be looking at your gig work as charity for sure. Just doing it for the grins and giggles of it or something. But if you're actually looking to be in this thing for the long haul or even the short haul, you got to play it smart. Because if not, you just might find yourself feeling like you're just not making hardly any money and it's just not worth it. And if you ever come to an app where you just see a bunch of these offers, well, you may have to multi-app, where you're just not having just that one app that you're working from, whether it's DoorDash, Uber Eats, Grubhub, Walmart, Spark, just to name a few. Sometimes we got to get all of these apps to work together so we can actually move the needle of our profits. However, DoorDash does sometimes have their little sneaky way of getting those no-tip orders out. Now, let's just look at an example right here. This is actually $19.60 for 13 miles. Honestly, this is a lot of miles, but we're going to use this for an example, because when you see that there's 2 pickups and 2 drop-offs, you might think, well, they may have tipped, but there's no way you actually know that until you actually take the offer and at the end see what the results is. But when you actually look at the results, you actually see that the base pay is $5.60. Peak pay is $6. And look at that Starbucks. No tip. The Little Caesars was $8 tip. So that's one way how DoorDash can actually kind of sneak it on in there, since it's actually kind of on the way anyways. And I personally know that Starbucks was actually just one drink, and they didn't tip a dang thing. And also, just to add, this was during a winter storm, so couldn't even tip $1 or $2. Now, isn't that just saying something all in itself? But it is what it is. This order actually just took, I think, about 40 minutes altogether. So it's almost $20 within that hour. Then you had to come back and get another order. But let's go ahead and play this game again. Is there a tip on here? $16.35, 11.2 miles. It's still a lot of miles on there. But what's the chances? What's the odds of there still being no tip? Well, when we look at it right here, base pay was $8.10. Peak pay was $2. The Chipotle order was the one with the tip, was $6.25. Chick-fil-A, nada, nothing, zilch. And those houses was like right there together. How in the world do they expect to get their food? Well, DoorDash has to put this with an order that's actually somewhat worth it, and what I kind of call is a piece of crap sandwich, where you might have your $6.25 and your base pay there, your peak pay looking pretty good, but you got that little piece of crap that's in the middle, which is that little no tip offer, which makes the sandwich just taste nasty. And as we see, this was actually like the first order of that day, and this took a total of 41 minutes. So $16.35, not too bad doing this all within an hour, but then you also got to think about traveling back, unless you have restaurants in that area where you can kind of ping pong from. But it still comes down to no tip, no trip. To go or not to go, that is your question. How much do you value your time? Do you really want to just kind of feel like you're just working just for pennies? Because the times when I feel like I'm just grinding and I'm just not hardly making anything, that feels deflating, right? That makes you feel like you want to quit. But if we can find those orders that makes it more worth it, such as the example of this $8.50 plus for 1.6 miles, that's much more worth it to wait for. Or $10 plus 2.9 miles. These are the orders that we want to take, because those other little low balls pieces of poo just ain't going to cut it. Now, I can just kind of look into the customer shoes of them actually thinking,
I'm already getting fees for this. I'm paying for the service altogether. Then I have to tip as well?
yes, we kind of actually depend on that tip, because the base pay with only being $2, I don't even want to go across the street for that. It's not even worth picking up. I understand that times are tough, but this is the whole reason like these gig workers like us are out here to even do this. But hey, you know what? I personally know how it is on the customer side, because I'm a customer. I even go out to eat, just not that often, because when I do get things out, I usually just go get it myself. And if I am going to stay in and I'm going to dine out, I will leave a good tip, because then I'm actually mentally prepared and financially prepared to do so. But if I'm not financially prepared, I'm either just going to eat at home or I'm going to go get the food myself. And speaking of me and my family, it's usually the second one. Now I can just hear somebody right now is just like someone saying, Phil, all I see is these low orders. It's always just $2 and $3. Only thing I would say is keep declining. And if multi-apping's not working, I would be finding something else. It's all about finding what actually will work. Sometimes you got to fail. Sometimes you got to fall. You got to try this and try that. And still things don't work, but don't give up. You got to figure out what works for you and in the market that you're in. And as a driver, and if you do maybe like accidentally take one of those no tip offers because it's connected to something else, don't freak out or lash at anyone. But I know how you feel. It's a little deflating when they have a big old stack of food and you leave it there at the door, or sometimes you even hand it to the person as well. And they're all like, oh, thank you, da da da. And you see that there's no tip. That's just absolutely deflating. Usually, I just gave you all that food. You ordered all of this, and I took the time to bring it out to you for nothing? Because even DoorDash now sometimes don't have enough base pay on there to actually make the order halfway decent. There's actually orders where that one customer gave an abundance of a tip. Then DoorDash sends like just a $2 base pay, but yet you still deliver that other offer with no tip, which is almost like a buy one, get one free for them, for the company. Or if you want to see it as $1 a piece of that base pay. However you want to look at it, it's still the way it's been for some time now. Used to, each one of those would have the base pay on it, but times have changed and there's nothing much that we can do about it except for just keep on adding it in the comment box. Because I know it's frustrating. Because even if there is peak pay, you got to kind of still balance this thing out. Just say if you had a $3 peak pay and you have the base pay $2, you already know if you see an order that's just $5, there is no tip on it. If it's $6, they may have left $1. It just depends on if it's just been declined so many times, it didn't just finally get up to $6. But I say all of this just so we can actually be aware of what offers we're actually taking, and help us to actually think about the longevity of our gig work career, however long we're going to make it. But the thing is, I wanted to make sure you are setting yourself up for success on each and every order by not taking these lowball offers, because in the long run, it just ain't going to work. There has been like so many times when I went to like maybe certain restaurants. One I'm thinking about right off the top of my head is this like Whataburger, and they have this rack and they just might have some orders just sitting there. And I just like looking at the time zone, just kind of little glance like, wow, that was an hour and a half ago. Wow, that was from this morning. And I keep on thinking, no tip, no trip. You should have added something on that as a customer. But I want to just thank you for watching this video. And if you're one of those drivers that's actually been struggling, check out this video right here.